Hello everybody, it's Jama Molly, and I'm going to go ahead and do this card for the most part in real time. This is for a Stencil It blog hop, and I'm going to be using this cloud Cricut cut as my stencil. This is from the Artistry Cricut Collection. I cut it at 11, it comes as a border like this. I cut it at 11.5 inches, which is the widest you can go on the Cricut. And I'll be using the various parts of this cloud to make a cloud sky background in my card. So I've got everything mostly prepped to keep it faster for you. What I'm going to do is use the Lagoon ink for my cloud background. And I've pulled in some various stamp sets for the stamped images. I will pull those out as I get to them. I'm going to work on my Versamat and this scrap piece of paper. And this is what I'm going to be creating my cloud background on. So let's just go ahead. I've got this blending brush that I got on Amazon. You could use a sponge dauber or any other sponge or blending brush that you already have. And I'm just going to work around these various different parts of the clouds because each one will give a little bit different look going across our sky. And I'm going to create a little sky scene. So let's go ahead and dab this in the ink. And what I have found to be helpful is to kind of pat this off on your scrap paper first. Otherwise, you're going to get that sort of intense blot when you blend. So I'm just going to go very lightly, and what I like about this blending brush is that it gives a very light blend. So you want to have a lighter hand if you're going to use a sponge dauber or something like that. And look at how cool that is. You can blend it up to the top as much as you want. I wanted to have it kind of fade into a lighter color, and then I'm going to keep moving down, and each time I'm going to keep the color more concentrated closer to the cloud. So we've sort of got an ombre effect as we go through the sky. Now I goofed, I went below here, right here, so I'm going to try to cover that up in with my next cloud. And you can also, I mean, every mistake is an opportunity for embellishment, right? I can use the unicorn to cover that up or cover it up in some other way as well. And you can see it is not perfect. That's okay. We will cover that. And you know what? It's a handmade card, so it's not going to be perfect every time. But that's a really, really cool background, right? So let's go ahead and add to it with our fun stamped and die cut images. So I cut this unicorn out. It is from this set, and I thought that it would be really fun to have a unicorn flying through the sky. And so this is part of a special, as is this paper that I'm using. This is one of the Blue Skies stamp sets. It's called Beautiful Day. So it is a stamp and thin cut set. Look at all of those thin cuts that you get. So pretty much all of these images cut out. And then I also pulled out this stamp set. This is a new one called, it's the Stitch Together-Cardmaking set. So it goes with the Stitch Together line. And what I love is that you get these two thin cuts. It's Happy, and then the background kind of outline for Happy, as you see here. So you can layer them up. And then you also get a stamp. So if you wanted to stamp over Happy to give it some pattern, you could do that and it'll look really pretty. And then there's all these little sayings that can go with it. I've used this on a video before, but what I love is that you get that label look, so you can stamp this in black or another color, and then it leaves the type in white or whatever color cardstock you're stamping on. And it gives that label look, which is really popular right now, to stamp white or a lighter color onto a darker cardstock and then heat emboss, which is a really cool look, but you don't have to do the heat embossing with this, which is nice. You don't have to mess with that. Now, that is fun to do, but I don't always want to bring out my embossing powder and do heat embossing. So, all right, so this is how we're looking right now. I decided to use this paper as my background because it's got all of the colors of the rainbow, but it's not a rainbow. So there is a rainbow paper. I'm gonna pull that out here because I did think about using that, this one. I did think about using this as my background. I think that would look really cool to have the actual rainbow as your background, but I decided not to because the print is so big, I couldn't have gotten all of the colors on it. I guess if I put it like right here, I could get a little bit of green. I could do that, and if you want to do that, you can. Quite frankly, I wanted to save this for a scrapbook page, but if you're not a scrapbooker, or heck, if I'm probably going to buy more of this paper because I love it so much, I may do this again with the rainbow background, and I think that would look really cool. But for this card, I'm going to go ahead and use this one because it does have all the rainbow colors in it. And so I colored my unicorn to coordinate with the paper. And what I used is the citrus blend, the dark red blend, and the light green blend of the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. And then I also brought in the Shinhan Carmine color because it's a brighter red than this. So I blended the brighter red with the light of the dark red, and that gave me this brighter red color. Otherwise, I would have gotten this darker red color by blending the dark red. So you can see the difference in the bright red and the dark red. So that's why I mixed those two markers. Okay, so I've got my hot air balloon here, and I want to color it, but I don't want it to be as vibrant. I've already got a lot of color going on, and I want to tie it in though. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use shimmer brushes actually. So I've got the red shimmer brush, and I'm going to very gently color these pennants. You want to have a real gentle hand with this because this brush tip is real like long and soft and really easy to bend. So getting into these small little areas, you just want to have a very, very light hand. So now I hope the camera can pick up all of that beautiful shine that you get. And then I'm going to use my Lagoon shimmer brush to color the little basket down here. And then I want the top to have a little bit of color, but I don't want it to be as intense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of watercolor on with the stamp pad. So I just squeezed my stamp pad together. Now this is the old style stamp pad. This is the new style. Same way, squeeze it together. This is going to open up like with magnet though. You're just going to squeeze it together so that some of that ink from the pad gets into the lid of your stamp pad. Now you can watercolor with a shimmer brush. So I've got the clear shimmer brush here that I could watercolor with, but I want to add a little bit more water so that it spreads a little bit, and you'll see what I mean, how it adds that nice color, but it's not as intense, so it'll go nicely against our background, I think. So it'll spread nicely with this water brush. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing with the clear water brush so that it'll all have some shine. So when you do this, you just want to make sure you're using a waterproof ink. So I use the Intense Black ink, which is waterproof, And it's also alcohol marker friendly. So that's what I use for this alcohol marker one as well. And our archival black ink is waterproof as well. And that's the ink I usually reach for. But since I did some alcohol ink coloring, I decided to use the intense black. So now I'm going to go over it again with the shine, and that shine really brings it to life. I hope you can see the difference there. So the water brush helps to spread it better than the shimmer brush does, since this is sort of a larger area. Whoops. But I'm going over it again with just a little bit more color and the shimmer to help spread the shimmer and intensify that color just a little bit more. And it sure does pack a punch. I hope you can see it a little bit. I know that this shimmer brush is always really hard to see on camera, but hopefully it's picking up a little bit for you. So now we have our really pretty hot air balloon that will go in the sky. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry that quickly with my heat tool, and then I will die cut that out and meet you back here. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and do a voiceover for the rest of this video, since I've pretty much shown you all the techniques, and now we are going to assemble the card. So I have all of my pieces cut now, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of the stamped images already stamped and die cut off to the side. I won't be using all of them, but I will be using a lot of them. I decided to color the unicorn with the shimmer brush as well to give it lots of sparkle, just like the hot air balloon. It also would look really cute to color just the unicorn's hair instead of the whole body, but I am a sparkle girl and I decided to go all out. So I moved that one cloud down under the unicorn, partly to cover that mess up that I made earlier, and then also I felt like it grounded the unicorn. It felt like it was just flying, which it is, but that cloud sort of helped to ground it and give it something that it was jumping over. So I just stamped and cut out one more of the clouds in the Lagoon ink. And now I'm assembling everything. I'm using a mixture of regular adhesive to make it flat to the page, some 3D foam tape, and then some thin 3D foam tape. So all of those elements are at different levels, which looks really cool and adds some cool dimension. And then I'm just adhering everything together. So that Lagoon cardstock, I'm putting it on, though I'm covering most of it up, it does have that really cool UV coating on it. I then stamped my sentiment, wishing you A, and going to put that label style on the front after fussing with trying to figure out where it's going to go. And then I used a few of the little stars from that Unicorn Dreams stamp set sort of as embellishments to tie in the black from that sentiment. I messed up, got some ink on the cloud, and I used a sand eraser to erase it. You can hardly tell that it was messed up. So here is that beautiful sparkle and the finished product. I hope you enjoyed and that this inspired you to use some stencils that you can make with your Cricut or anything else with cardstock or stencil paper. Be sure to check out all of the other people participating in this blog hop. I'll have the link down to my blog post below, and then you can hop over to all of the other participants. Thanks so much for joining me today, and if you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did so. I hope you have a wonderful day.